The identity of God. Who is God? In your attempt to define God, did you ever stop to consider some of the words you were using? Did you pause and reflect on the deep meaning of the words? If you did, you probably realized that these mere words fail to capture God's essence. And this is, as you would expect, finite beings using natural words to describe a supernatural being leads to the use of words we do not comprehend. In other words, words have a limit because they come from finite beings with finite minds. They are inadequate for the task. You therefore devise or learn words you really have no experiential grasp of. For example, you may have listed that God is eternal. Do you have any idea of what eternal experientially means? You can read about the color, but until you actually see it, you will have no idea what it looks like. Or you can read a lot about cycling, but have little idea of what cycling is unless you have ridden a bike. No human being has any idea what eternity is like. You cannot comprehend it. You can try to think about it, but will inevitably get lost in the repeating of never-ending, never-ending, never-ending. No finite created being with a definite beginning and a definite end can grasp a concept that has no beginning or end. All you can do is to apprehend its awesomeness, its holy otherness, its total beyond you-ness. How do you feel when you think of God as wholly beyond you in every conceivable way? Are we struck, confused, distant? Hopefully you are beginning to feel just how big God is. My hope for you is that you never lose that feeling, a depth of God-inspired awe as long as you live. My prayer for you is to continue to seek to go deeper into God's identity until the only way you can best describe Him is simply God is. Hear the following definition of God given by Gordon Lewis. God is an invisible, personal, and living spirit, distinguished from all other spirits by several kinds of attributes. Metaphysically, God is self-existent, eternal, and unchanging. Intellectually, God is omniscient, faithful, and wise. Ethically, God is just, merciful, and loving. Emotionally, God detests evil, is long-suffering, and is compassionate. Existentially, God is free, authentic, and omnipotent. Rationally, God is transcendent in being, immanent, universally in providential activity, and immanent with His people in redemptive activity. Yan ang sabi ni Gordon Lewis. By no means memorize this definition. For most of us, this definition is far too academic. The reason it is here to underscore the problem of finite beings trying to define the infinite. The smarter you are, and Gordon Lewis is smart, the bigger words you will use to describe God until most of the words lose experiential meaning. Definitions of the trickier words are given below, but remember, the best way to get to know God or anyone else for that matter is to experience Him and be in His presence. Remember, this definition is designed to leave you saying, wow, or feeling the weight of God's awesomeness, vastness, beyond meanness. It is not supposed to be comprehended, but for sake of explanation, here is what some of the words refer to. Metaphysically, fundamental nature of reality and being, long-suffering, slow to anger, patient endurance of being wronged. Existentially, how you experience reality, transcendent, beyond you. A few of the names in the list may not make any sense to you. Even you hear what I said. This is because it's a name that is probably tied to a cultural issue or concern that was popular at the time or native to Middle East culture but not here. You may choose to research that name or leave it for another time and just let the ones you recognize understand to sink in. The names of God. Let's begin in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, there are names for God. Elohim, Genesis 1:1, Psalm 19:1, meaning God, a reference to God's power and might. Adonai, Malachi 1:6, meaning Lord, a reference to the Lordship of God. Jehovah Yahweh, Genesis 2:4, meaning God's divine salvation. Jehovah Makadishim, Exodus 31:13, meaning the Lord my sanctifier. Jehovah Rohe, Psalm 23:1, meaning the Lord my shepherd. Jehovah Shammah, Ezekiel 40:35, meaning the Lord who is present. Jehovah Rapha, Exodus 15:26, meaning the Lord our healer. Jehovah Chidkino, Jeremiah 23:6, meaning the Lord our righteousness. Jehovah Jireh, Genesis 22:13-14, meaning the Lord will provide. Jehovah Nissi, Exodus 17:15, meaning the Lord our banner. Jehovah Shalom, Judges 6:24, meaning the Lord is peace. Jehovah Zabaoth, Isaiah 6:1-3, meaning the Lord of hosts. El Elyon, Genesis 14:17-20, Isaiah 14:13-14, meaning the Most High God. El Roi, Genesis 16:13, meaning the strong one who sees. El Shaddai, Genesis 17:1, Psalm 19:1, meaning the God of the mountains or God Almighty. El Olam, Isaiah 40:28-31, meaning the everlasting God.